Hi there, so today I'm going to go through all the decisions that it's necessary to take as a homeowner if you're planning and if you're going through the process of a home design improvements project, whether that's a huge extension and complete reconfiguration, a refurbishment and renovation, whatever it is, or whether it's really small scale and you're just looking at maybe doing some interior design for one room. These are the kind of decisions that you need to make as you're going through the process of a project. I'm going to talk to you about when you should make them, give you a little bit of architectural jargon, so bust a bit of that jargon for you, and also show you along the way what sort of things that I can offer to help you out. So I have a few freebies that will help you out at different stages, and I have also a fully comprehensive package of services that can also help you with your project. So the very first thing, and this is I think the most important thing that you can do as a homeowner when you're looking to improve your home and make it really work for you, and that is to decide how much and what kind of space you need for you and your family, so that you can enjoy your best life. So it's all very well having loads and loads of space, but having the wrong kind of space in the wrong place, so that's not going to work for you, is no point. There's no point doing a big extension and having a huge space at the back of your house, say, that doesn't really work. Maybe it doesn't have the kitchen in it and that's where you need the extra space. Maybe you have 10 to 15 people around for a sit down meal on a regular occasion and you just don't have the space to do that. There's no point extending your living room then in that case. So it's really essential that you have really thought through exactly what you need and what you want, and you've prioritized that. And then, so this in architectural terms, this is where we start to talk about the brief. So a brief for an architect is basically a list or a set of instructions from a client, from a homeowner, for example, when it's your house extension project, telling the architect what it is that you want. And to help you with that, I have a free checklist that you can download called the Design Your Home Vision Checklist, and that will give you take you through some of the basic fundamental decisions that you need to make to start off your project, just the very first step. And as part of that very early stages, then another thing that you really need to consider is how much are you willing or able to spend on this project to get the space that you need and want. And in architectural terms, that is called the budget. I am not a financial advisor and I don't pretend to be. I can't give advice on how you go about funding any home design project. There are so many options, but I would recommend that you speak to somebody like a mortgage broker to get some idea of what you can do if you're looking at mortgage as a increasing the scope of your mortgage to pay for this. But there are lots of other options available, including savings, of course, but budget and brief from you as a client, deciding exactly what you want and how much you can spend on it. That is the fundamental starting point, and that's what you need to do. You need to get that in place, ideally, before you speak to an architect. A good architect can help you work through that process a little bit. And like I say, I have a free download that you can get and use that to help you with that process. So the second stage with decision making is when you've got a kind of a set of sketch designs. So you know what you want and you know how much you can spend on it, and now you start to explore your options. And so you get some sketch designs, and that's what it's called. Architectural jargon is sketch designs. It would be loose freehand sketches. Concept design is another kind of architectural term for this, where you're sort of looking bigger picture, kind of thinking, okay, well, where do I need the space? Like I said earlier, do you need a bigger dining room? Do you need a kitchen to work in a particular way? Do you need a utility room? Do you have pets? Do they need somewhere to sleep, to eat? Do you want to be able to wash them down? You know, whatever it is, whatever you have particular needs for your home and your life, then it's about deciding where those spaces go and looking bigger picture at your whole house, the space that you have in your house, and where it is you need to increase the space, what it might look like, and how that's going to work. To help you do this, I offer a home design workshop, and I deliver these every Wednesday. They're £495, and that's me spending 3 hours with you looking at what you've decided about what you need and want, and then exploring your options with you, showing you different ways that you can achieve the changes to your home that will deliver the home that you need and want. The next stage is to check which of those options, which of the different ideas that you've been exploring as a sketch design, which of those is best going to suit you, and which is going to be the most achievable in relation to the cost, what's most likely to be accepted for, and given planning approval, any technical limits, and sort of looking at the time scale. If you want a huge and complicated construction, then it could take you an awful lot longer, and especially if your budget is much smaller, then you're going to end up taking a lot longer to do it than if what you want to do is quite small scale and quite simple. So this stage in architectural terms is called the feasibility stage, and it's where you're kind of testing your ideas. So you've got a set of ideas, you've got a set of options, and you're looking at, and maybe you're talking with builders to see, you know, who locally is available and what kind of size of project they work with, what sort of budgets they, you know, scale in terms of cost that they work with. And for my clients who have done a home design workshop, I can offer them a feasibility checklist that they can use then to go out and make sure that they've checked the different things in terms of cost and planning, that, you know, to give them a better idea about which of their options they want to go with, and help them make those decisions. So they might want to contact planners, structural engineers, builders, a cost estimator, a quantity surveyor, lots of different people, maybe specialists like asbestos surveyors, and if you're looking at a particularly green kind of solution, maybe people to speak to where you may be wanting to go more of an off-grid solution would be to look at photovoltaics, solar thermal systems, ground or air source heat pumps, those sorts of options. Having somebody look at your ideas early on and give some input at this very early stage can be really valuable. So then the next stage is where you start. You've looked at your options and you've chosen one. You know what it is that you want to go with. You've made that decision now. You know what's going to work for you within your budget, and you can then start to develop that. So this is called, in architecture terms, design development. So we'll take one of your choices and we'll start to expand on that, put a bit more detail into it, look at the materials that you're going to be building with, colours maybe to some extent, but not so much yet. It's much more about materials, textures, shape, form, size, and kind of like the way that I work is to start to look at the feel of the space, and that's when you're starting to look in section, is where you start to, the height of a room can really have a big impact on how you feel in that space, whether it's cozy or whether it feels really freeing and it's a huge big space to be in. So this is that sort of decision about what it is you want to go for, and then what you want to get planning permission for. So for this stage, I offer a service called The Plan, where I develop all your sketch design into one single option and submit that to planning for you. And this is sort of involves CAD drawings and applying for planning permission. The next stage, fifth stage, is to think about more of the technical side of things. So decide how energy efficient you want your project to be, how energy efficient you want your home to be. Do you want it to meet building control sort of minimum standards, which isn't bad and it's much better than most existing houses now? Or would you like to go better than that and meet something more towards a passive house standard? Also, I would recommend that you decide about designs for kitchens and bathrooms, what heating type you want to go for, how sustainable you want the materials used in your construction to be. So they could be recycled, they could be materials that are from renewable resources, so particularly things like timber. Cork is an amazing product, and then also things like colours and all these other details, like, you know, how many sockets you want. This is the technical design stage, and this is the next stage. So this is where you sort of prepare, getting all the drawings and all the information together ready for building. And this is part of my build package, and this is where you need to basically decide everything. I recommend that you've decided everything before you start on site, so that there aren't going to be any sort of last minute sort of regretful decisions that you're having to make because you're being pressurized to make a decision really quickly. But instead, you've had the chance to take your time, have a glass of wine and think things through, have a chat, search through Pinterest or whatever it is you need to do to help you make the right decision for you, rather than sort of being pressurized on site. Stuff's got to happen, builders got to go and purchase the tiles quickly to get them laid, and you know, you're not quite sure what colour you want, you're not quite sure what format, but you've got to make a decision in the next half an hour. Those are the sorts of pressurized decisions on site that I would like you not to have to do, because that when you make decisions like that, you're much more likely to regret them long term. But if you've had the chance to make those decisions in a bit more of a calm way, then the chances are you're going to be really much happier with your project. And I want all my clients to really love their homes, and I want that for you too. So I want you to have the chance to make the decisions at the right time, when you're going to have the best chance to make the right decision for you, and you're not going to be making decisions that you regret. And then the sixth set of decisions really is to decide how you want to go about getting your builder. Now, you could do this at an earlier stage, that is also an option, but you want to decide what kind of contract you want, what kind of builder you want to work with, and how you want to manage the construction. And this stage in architecture terms is called the tender. And this is where you start to invite builders to quote for the work. I would say 3, maybe 4 builders typically for a domestic project. And you don't want to be going for more than that, but less than that you're probably not going to get the variety of prices to sort of see really whether you're getting the right price for the work that's being done. And then finally, once you've got all those prices, that tender process is something that I do as well. I offer that as part of my build package of services. But this tender stage is something then once you've got all your prices back, then all you need to decide is which builder are you going to choose, which price are you going to accept, and which builder do you want to work with. Sign your contract, and then off you go. They start on site, and that's it. And hopefully you've made all the decisions, you've laid all the groundwork to make your build go as smoothly as it possibly can. Now, when you're working with an existing building, it's always possible that unexpected things can be found on site, and you know that needs to be dealt with. But if you've done all that you can to make all the decisions that you can possibly anticipate, then you know the number of amount of decision making you're going to have to do while it's on site is really minimal, and that's going to make the build time so much less stressful for you. And that's what I hope for everybody, that you can have a build that delivers your home the way that you want it, so that you can really love it, you can be happy living there, it's going to suit you, and it's going to be what you really want. And the process of getting there is going to be as low stress as it possibly can be. If you're planning a home project, I wish you the best of luck with that. If you'd like to get hold of a copy of the Design Your Home Vision checklist, I'm going to pop some links in the description so you can get yourself a copy of that to help you with making a start. And if you'd like to work with me and get my help, I'm more than happy to have a chat with you. Just leave a message or get in touch with me and I'll speak to you then. Okay, I'll look forward to seeing you next Friday. Bye for now.